The Nuneaton Art School for me was just the most wonderful experience I've ever had in my entire life.
The first year, it was a variety, you know, choices of different subjects like drawing, life drawing, history of art, photography, sculpture, pottery, ceramics. I think your world was your oyster.
I don't think we've seen each other since we left college.
since we left. No, since we were at college. No.
I was really interested in the graphics side more than anything, and that's where eventually my career came to be.
I wanted to achieve a career in art, which I tend to enjoy, and I think at the time you had more freedom and things like that, you know, to please yourself for those 2 years.
Try and imagine, if you can, the Museum Art Gallery as an art school. You walk through the entrance doors to this place, and it was quite extraordinary. You'd see the staircase, the noise and the activity. The teachers wore clothes I'd never seen before. I heard highly educated voices. The atmosphere was strange but impressive. Colour seemed to play a huge part. I was a bit wonderstruck, really, sort of scared as well. Within the first couple of weeks I was learning so much, it blew my mind.
The biggest shock to the system, if you like, was the life drawing class.
Embarrassment.
Embarrassment to say the least.
First of all.
And the introduction to it, you know, you just walked into the room and she just literally took off her bathrobe and stood there naked in front of you, you know. And 5 minutes later, the teacher walked in, you know. Carry on, lads, you know.
Yes.
So you did tend to grow up very quickly.
Yes.
Very quick, yeah.
First teacher that really stood out for me at the time while I was there, I will say Mr. Jeff Yeomans. He was our deputy head.
Mr. Mayish,
Oh, yeah.
he guided me from a 14-year-old on a Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, when I was interested in doing technical drawing, and he guided me into graphics, and that's where I knew at a very early age that I wanted to do something in graphics.
The only other guy that I can really remember was a Mr. Harris, because he had a converted ammunition wagon from the Second World War that he'd turned into like a caravanette with a sink and a stove and his sleeping bunk. And oh, believe me, we did many miles in that. He took us, you know, sketching, and he took us down to London, to the big art galleries in London, all at his own expense.
I was part of the first full-time group of art students to be taught here and to move on to higher education. So the 2 years I spent here changed my whole life, which I think is pretty fantastic.
This was a part of my ceramic course, which is my second year, and this was based on a Marmite jar. We made this on a lathe, then we sawn it off to make it four flat-sided sides, and we made it, called it as a spice jar, and I brought these cork tops from the Hell shop in Coton Road.
Well, mine obviously was more sketching and painting,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
But there again, it's still there, and I can turn my hand to knocking a sketch out any day of the week, you know.
And I don't know about you, but it is quite satisfying, and it helps you relax.
Oh yeah.
I was taught, like so many other students here, to observe in a very traditional way, pure observation.
This one was my, although I did pottery Saturday mornings, you know, which they at Norman Avenue, I had a basic start, and I made myself like a storage biscuit barrel jar, which was a thrown pot with a lid on top, and it's got my name and everything underneath.
The Nuneaton Art School was rated always in the top 5 art schools in the UK up to the 1980s, mid-1980s.
You've still got the skills.
Oh, well, you never lose
You
it.
never lose
You
it.
never lose it. No.
It's the sort of thing that's in your memory.
Yeah, yeah. Oh,
It's
good old memories.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Thank you, Nuneaton Art School.